What's up, comic book fans? And welcome to Comics Icons. Now, JJ, what they call me. And today, we're about to pick back up on the new story of the century with issue number 2. Now, when we last left off with this story, Jessica Jones and Misty Knight had been investigating multiple instances of people gaining the power of the Sentry. Now, the former Sentry, Robert Reynolds, was literally torn apart by Null, the god of the symbiotes, in the King in Black story, and has been dead ever since. So now, random people are gaining his power, but Misty and Jessica are wondering why they are all coming up missing after manifesting. But we know that one of those new centuries has been wiping out the rest. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready to see what happens next in this story, let's get it. So issue 2 begins with Misty and Jessica at the Brooklyn Community Center investigating the latest emergence from a guy named Farhad Anand. Now, if you checked out issue 1, then you know Farhad was a DoorDash delivery guy, and when he and some of his courier friends were playing a game of dodgeball, Farhad instantly gained the Sentry's powers, leaving a giant crater in the gym. He then freaked out and ran away, only to be tracked down by this kid named Ryan Topper, who also had these powers, and a brutal fight ensued that ended with Ryan killing Farhad and absorbing his power. So Misty and Jessica go back and basically visit every place that we saw Farhad visit in the previous issue. And they interview witnesses, all of whom take issue with him being a mutant, even though before he had manifested these powers, they was all cool with him. Then they get word of another anomaly, and they travel off to the Tuscarora State Forest in Pennsylvania, where satellites captured a forest fire the night before. When they arrive, they notice signs of a fight, and they're able to deduce that this was Farhad because of the big round footprints, which was part of Farhad's mutation, and Ryan because of his shoe size and patterns that were inconsistent with the other person that got powers named Mallory, because she has cerebral palsy, and the footprints were too even to match what type of pattern she'd make. So Misty requests for forensics to do what they do. And then we see Mallory over on the moon, and she's weeping, just as we saw in the first issue when she caused destruction in her apartment building upon gaining these powers and then ran off to hide there. Then we see Ryan show up, who's able to hear her crying from Earth, and he tells her that he's able to feel her energy like a distress beacon. Then he realizes that he's actually seen her before, as he recalls that she almost tripped him when the strange glowing man showed up. And you guys can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't believe we've seen this so-called glowing man just yet. So that's likely a sign that maybe in one of the last 2 issues of this story, we'll see a flashback of him. But he then tries to flirt with her, very poorly might I add, saying that those powers worked wonders on her and now she's pretty cute. But then he explains to her that they have the powers of the century. So she tells him that she doesn't really want to be about that superhero life, because those powers mixed with her uncontrollable spasms might hurt somebody. So he's like, fine, stay here. You only have enough power to keep you alive here, so have fun dwindling them away. Then he heads back down to Earth, telling her to come find him if she changes her mind. Then we transition over to Times Square in New York, and we meet Marv Chow, illusionist extraordinaire, who's basically a street hustler. But when he tells the crowd that his next trick will be to catch a bullet with his teeth, a doubter in the crowd calls his bluff and fires a shot at Marv. And in this moment, as it seems as if Marv is dying, he manifests the powers of the Sentry and re-emerges fully healed. And now the crowd turns on him because they think he's a mutant. So he flies up out of there and goes to find the guy that tried to kill him. And when he finds the guy, just as he goes to attack him, Ryan shows up and tells him, "Nice resurrection trick back there." Let's see you try doing that again. And then Ryan destroys both Marv and the other guy. Then we transition over to several blocks away in Times Square. And there we meet a lady in a department store named Rosalinda, who's cleaning up the store while she's talking to a co-worker about her 3 sons. And she tells this guy that one of her sons went and glue-gunned his entire room with sponges so he could soundproof it. And she then notices 3 ladies taking some merchandise from about the store. So she's like, oh, hell no. She chases down these ladies, and in that moment, she gains the powers of the Sentry and fires on these ladies, knocking them out and causing a blackout. So then she takes off and heads back to her family when Ryan approaches her saying that she's the menace behind this blackout. So she then tells him that it was an accident, but he tells her that he can't let her do any more harm. And then he destroys this lady. I mean, this Ryan dude is a complete psychopath. And he truly thinks he's doing a good job. Crazy. So then we go back over to Mallory on the moon, as now she's starting to get a little bit lonely and she can hear the voices of people back on Earth. Even her roommate Clara. And she says Clara isn't even religious, but she can hear her praying for Mallory to come back. So she then realizes that she needs to make things right, that she can't be scared of her spasms forever. And if that creep can figure this out, so can I. And so she goes back down to the Earth, and the first thing she encounters is a group of migrants stranded in a broken ship in the Mediterranean Sea. So she scoops up everybody, including the ones that have fallen off the ship, and she starts to fly the boat towards land. But then her limbs start to act up, but she's able to focus and get these people there safely. And the people, of course, they all thank her, and she realizes that she's way in over her head with all of this. Then we go back over to Jessica Jones and Misty Knight, as they're now looking over all of the evidence from each one of the events, including the new ones with the street illusionist and a department store clerk, both of whom are now missing. Then Jessica starts to put together that each of these people at one point visited Penn Station, that Marv usually passes through there en route to Times Square, and Rosalinda cuts through there on her way to work, and Ryan took the train to meet somebody he met on a dating app, and that Farhad used the subway to make deliveries, and Mallory shopped in the stationery shop in there. So Misty decides to narrow down the exact times that they all converge and see what they can find on surveillance. Then we see a battle happening somewhere outside of Dallas, Texas, with the Avengers taking on the UFOs, when Falcon is the first to notice a light coming their way. And then we see that it's Ryan, fully decked out in Sentry gear, and he says to them, Avengers, mind if I cut in? My name is Ryan Sentry, and I'm here to help. And ladies and gentlemen, that, my friends, is the end of the issue. So man, I have to say there's definitely some parts of this story that don't quite cut it for me, but I am interested in seeing how this whole thing plays out. I mean, this Ryan dude is absolutely crazy as all hell, and it feels like Mallory is the one in the end who's going to ultimately become the Sentry, or that maybe Ryan will ultimately win and the Sentry will become a villain. And who was this glowing man that Ryan talked about? So with only 2 more issues left in this story, we definitely gonna see it through. And if y'all dug this video as well as the channel, please help a brother out and leave a like, share, and subscribe to this channel, y'all, for more icons in the comic book world. But y'all know what time it is. I'm out this thing. Peace.